research, but we also investigate the lab. I believe Fort Detrick was one of our main labs was closed down in the last year or two because of research institute, a research incident that was dangerous with dangerous pathogens. And so the American people would want to know, how could you approve this dangerous research in China, say that you trusted the Chinese scientists, and then in the end, you had to admit that you'd never been there. None of your inspectors had ever been there. Dr. Fauci, had any of the labs where this dangerous research was occurring, were any American lab oversight or lab investigators, did they ever appear in these labs to make sure that they were safe labs?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Guys, Dr. Anthony Fauci's testifying just erupted into an explosive congressional showdown. We have Tim Pool unloading on Fauci's refusal to answer as Rand Paul presses him over COVID research, accountability, and the Fifth Amendment, of course. Who's telling the truth and who's protecting a legacy? Subscribe for daily uploads. This is America Only.
And commentary, but there is no point because Anthony Fauci, as predicted, has invoked the Fifth Amendment, his Fifth Amendment right not to testify at this COVID hearing, and is calling Senator Rand Paul unhinged. Now, I'm going to have to go ahead and say this. I don't believe we are going to get any more value out of this hearing other than the initial statement made by Dr. Fauci. And I'm done playing games. I'm done playing games. I do have the hearing. Let's see if we can pull up. We don't need that. We can get a better view of this right here. I have the hearing live right now as I record this, and there's a reason why I didn't go live with it, and it's that Dr. Paul, it says Dr. Paul because he is a doctor, is asking very important questions of Dr. Fauci related to his work on gain-of-function research, lying to the public, and it is an opportunity for Rand Paul to highlight specific things that we have learned about what Dr. Fauci has done. But Fauci may as well not even be here. Look, guys.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of this earlier today live, and it's just so redundant. I mean, Fauci, we all expected him to just plead the fifth for every single question that was asked. Kind of a pointless view, so I would just recommend watching this clip and don't watch the original one. It's just boring.
Right off the bat, we got a rock in a hard place. Are we going to say that invoking the Fifth Amendment proves he's guilty? You can't do that. It's not admissible in court, and we don't play those games. Because I'm going to be honest with you. If I ever got called before Congress in an adversarial manner, I'm likely pleading the fifth quite a bit myself. And the issue is, the Fifth Amendment is not an admission of guilt. It is a deterrence against the exploitation of political enemies to manipulate what you say against you. That's the point. They could say something like, what did you have for breakfast yesterday? And you go, oh man, what did I have for breakfast yesterday? It's hard to remember. I think I had eggs and sausage. And they go, aha, you had bacon, you lied, perjury trap. That's what they do. Look at what they tried doing to Michael Flynn. Now, the problem is there are those of us with honor and integrity who are fighting the good fight, like Dr. Paul, and you've got to deal with evil people using these shields themselves. So welcome to the rock and the hard place. Do we allow Dr. Fauci to get away with everything we know he did? He lied to Congress. It's a fact that he lied to Congress.
And that's not all, Tim. Fauci's been known to be a liar for decades now. I mean, he was the one that got AZT, the AIDS drug, on the market and helped connect the HIV virus, which, for all we know, is a harmless passenger virus, to what we know as AIDS, which could be anything. Like, there are several illnesses that you could classify as AIDS as long as you had the HIV virus with it as well. I mean, look, Magic Johnson's still alive.
It's in the congressional record that he lied to Congress. So what is the point? I'm going to play a little bit of this so we can hear from Rand Paul some of the things that he's saying that I do think are important. But I want to stress, as far as a live hearing goes, it's interesting to hear what Dr. Paul has to say. Democrats, of course, are grandstanding and attacking Rand Paul. But again, all you're going to hear from Fauci is that he pleads the fifth.
This kind of risky research, whether you call it gain of function or not, whether you use the definition of gain of function, whether this kind of research should have had more scrutiny. I think in your House testimony, you testified that you never traveled to China and that you were unaware that anybody at NIH ever examined the labs, that you trusted the Chinese scientists. I think you said that even recently, that with your discretion, you trusted the Chinese scientists. The problem is that even in our country, we trust our scientists. They're good American scientists, probably doing the right thing for America. But at the same time, we oversight to make sure it's not dangerous research, but we also investigate the lab. I believe Fort Detrick was one of our main labs, was closed down in the last year or two because of research institute, a research incident that was dangerous with dangerous pathogens. And so the American people would want to know, how could you approve this dangerous research in China, say that you trusted the Chinese scientists, and then in the end, you had to admit that you'd never been there. None of your inspectors had ever been there. Dr. Fauci, had any of the labs where this dangerous research was occurring, were any American lab oversight or lab investigators, did they ever appear in these labs to make sure that they were safe labs?
Check this out.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all you're going to hear from Fauci throughout this. I mean, honestly, this is just a very good example of how propaganda works. It's insane. And I mean, we see it all the time. We have people who go on late night television and push all these lies and everything, like Stephen Colbert, for example. I have something interesting for you right here. If you can read that, I'll read it for you. But yeah, Stephen Colbert, I'm sure we all remember that really cringe vaccina skit that he did with all those, homosexual men in costumes dancing around promoting the vaccine. This is from Howard Stern's book, Howard Stern Comes Again, I think, some kind of sexual innuendo. Here, let me zoom in. All right, so look at the highlighted parts here. So Howard Stern, your father was a very accomplished guy. What was he, a doctor? Stephen, an immunologist, and then an academic. He was the youngest medical school dean ever. He was assistant dean at Yale Medical at 29. And remember Anthony Fauci? When the whole Ebola thing happened, that was my dad's gig. So look how crazy that is. Like, the propaganda's there. Like, it's right in your face. And if you don't remember what I'm talking about, yeah, look at that ugly ass grin. Let's check this out.
The vaccine.
Like, look at this. Like, Nazi Germany couldn't have had better propaganda. Yeah, we're done with that shit. Let's get rid of that. But yeah, you see what I mean, though? Like, it's all bullshit. I mean, they just expect you to buy into it. And, I mean, the proof is right there, just you got to look for it. All right, bring up Tim Pool again. Oh, there he goes. All right, sorry about that, Tim. Let's get back into this very, very exciting exchange.
So one of the main theories for those
Dr. Anthony Fauci
this being created in the
might
lab
be
was
one of the most.
that, could have come from a virus.
What's the right word for this?
Are you aware that Dr. Shi, who worked for the Wuhan Institute of Virology, was said to, and I think in her own words, to have over 100 viruses that had not been previously published that could have been a close enough relative to create COVID-19? Are you aware of that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You know what we need? We need like under the advice of counsel. Like, just say the same thing over and over again. We get you rapping, brother. Dr. Fauci is responsible for
Tim Pool, just don't try to be funny, man.
or millions of deaths around the world. And this was brought up on Timcast IRL. What the Trump administration needs to do, this is what Phil was saying, and it's a good idea. Go to El Salvador, calculate what was there, how many deaths, criminally charge Fauci under Salvadoran law. El Salvador can then file for extradition, and we can send him on his way. The reason why Fauci is pleading the fifth in every single sentence is because, as I've shown you here now, excuse me, this is from Newsweek, entered into the congressional record. Fauci was untruthful to Congress about Wuhan lab research, new documents appear to show. Fauci's already lied to Congress. That's a crime. But Joe Biden gave him a blanket 11-year pardon. I believe the constitutionality of that 11-year pardon should be challenged. Because if you cannot put a psychotic monster like Fauci in prison, you don't have a country.
Yeah, that's right, Tim. I mean, when I went to college, I went during the whole COVID pandemic, and it was such bullshit because they gave us the option of doing weekly testing rather than getting the vaccine. They gave us that option for months before we started the semester. And literally like 2 weeks before the semester started, they're like, oh, actually, we meant that you have to at least have one of the vaccines. And then, dude, all of my classes were online. So, like, I got suckered into it. I was forced to do it, and I felt so violated. Like, these people need to pay for what they did.
I don't care if you go and arrest a gangbanger who, like, shoots up another gangbanger. Because if you can't deal with a man who massacred millions of people, then what are you even doing? We call that a narco-tyranny. Now, you may be saying, Tim, whoa. Fauci didn't kill millions of people. Dr. Fauci approved the funding for the research at the Wuhan lab, which resulted in the production of COVID-19, which is what Rand Paul is bringing up. And this is years on now. We know this, and he lied about it. He was funneling money to EcoHealth Alliance. There's a lot of things that were going on. Now, I'm not suggesting that Fauci intentionally, went to a lab and said, we're going to kill millions. Wah! I'm saying that he was fumbling around with a nuclear bomb and that bomb went off, and he is lying because he doesn't want to take responsibility. You see, my friends, if you're driving your car and you're driving and you're speeding even a little bit, and then a kid jumps out to get a ball that rolled in the street and you kill that kid, that's called manslaughter. You might even get like a vehicular homicide depending on which jurisdiction you're in because you are in the process of committing a crime. Gain-of-function research was banned, was not allowed. And Fauci used circuitous methods by which he could fund this stuff. So I am not suggesting Fauci wanted to massacre millions. I am suggesting that he played fast and loose with the rules, violated the law and the directives of the executive branch to provide money for gain-of-function research that busted out of a lab, and then he did everything in his power to cover up his role in it.
Well, because he is science, Tim. Remember that? This dude had such an ego during the pandemic. Like, he literally thought he was a king. And that's what I think. I think there is an elite group of scientists who literally think they pull the strings on everything, and they're trying to redirect humanity into some weird technological science-based religion, like humanism or something like that. Like, it's crazy.
Here we are.
For a decade or more. And he's written about this publicly. He says the opposite. He said that the risks of this research do not outweigh the benefits. He said the risks, we shouldn't do it. Richard E. Bright, who's been involved in this debate for 2 decades, says the same thing. Says we really shouldn't be doing this at all. There's a quote also by... If the Kevin Esfelt quote is that at the very end.
Here, let's skip ahead a little. I mean, you're not going to hear any answers out of Fauci anyway. I just want you to hear the questions that Rand has to ask and what Tim Pool has to say. Let's jump ahead. Oh, yeah, and he shows that too. Yeah, it's garbage, dude. All right, here we go.
Or even perjury, for that matter. So if Dr. Fauci lied to Congress the last time he testified, if he admits the truth now, they cannot prosecute him. The problem is, it is not about self-incrimination. It is, well, not in a legal sense. It's about destroying his legacy. If Dr. Fauci tells the truth now, Yes, I lied to Congress last time. Yes, we did this. Yes, we did that. No, we didn't do any of the legitimate work. We knew it was going to kill people, all of that stuff. We made up social distancing. We flip-flopped on masks. If he comes out and admits all of that, destroys his legacy. And that's all he has left. But
yeah, we're going to wrap this up at this point. But yeah, you get the gist of it. I mean, social distancing, masking up, it was all lies. And eventually our kids are going to look back on it and be like, why didn't you do anything? So yeah, we just watched Tim Pool completely crush Dr. Fauci at his congressional hearing. You know, lots of bullshit was spewed, lots of Fifth Amendment pled. But yeah, and we also learned that Stephen Colbert had connections to the whole medical industrial complex through his father, who was the original Dr. Fauci. I mean, insane. Well, if you like videos like this, make sure you hit like and subscribe, because I am dropping 3 videos a day now. And it's not America first, not America last, but America only. And thank you for watching.